One thing that we get asked for quite a lot from large contractors and large service providers, like for example, flooring companies or construction consultants or engineering companies, is this thing called a capability statement. Now, capability statements are often asked for by companies that are tendering for work. So the reason for that is because it's a standard format. So it's a best practice way to ask for information about your business. So if I ask you, look, can you send me a brochure? That's going to tell me whatever it is that you want to tell me about your business. But if I ask for a capability statement, I'm specifically asking for something pretty particular. And that is normally, what insurances do you have to be capable of dealing with the work that I have for you? What's the experience of your team? Give me a breakdown of the experience of your team. I want to see examples of projects that you've done before to ensure that you can do projects that I want to give you. The same size, the same scale, the same kind of work. Have you done a lot of construction in the residential space? Because this job is commercial, so I want to make sure that you're capable of doing commercial work. So your capability statement can be either a customized statement, which means that you might have a commercial version, a residential version, a group version. You might have, if you're, for example, a flooring company, you might have a version that takes into account all different kinds of flooring. But if the flooring you're doing is specifically carpet only, then you might have a carpet version of your capability statement. It's up to you whether you have specific versions of the capability statement or you have a generic one. But either way, it needs to include your company's history. It needs to instill confidence in your company being able to perform the scale of work that's being asked of you. It needs to ensure that you have all the right licenses and legal requirements covered. And usually it handles a process that you take to ensure that work happens in the appropriate way. Here are the checks that we put in place, the balances and checks that we put in place to make sure that all the work we do meets a certain standard. This is our ethos for dealing with clients. This is our corporate hierarchy. Here's how our management team works. Our management team, there's 2 tiers. You always work with one point of contact, for example, or you always have a direct connection with all of our team. Whatever it is that sort of makes the way that you do business different, but it's less about your point of difference and it's more about your experience and capabilities that a capability statement should cover. And generally it's used in a corporate setting on larger jobs where the person who is charged with the job of outsourcing the work wants to ensure, for their own sake, that they've given the work to a company that's capable. Because if they get held to account later, why did you give this company this job? They've done a bad job. Why did you choose them? Well, they gave me their capability statement, and their price was the most expensive, for example. However, they were the most capable. And when I compared them to these other businesses over here who I didn't award the work to, I saw that these people were cheaper. However, they hadn't done a cinema before, and we're a cinema, so I wanted to hire a company that had done 10 cinemas before. Even though they're more expensive, they also itemized in their capabilities statement that cinemas are very unique and there's a very unique process to fitting out a cinema, so I gave them our work because they were more capable. So a capability statement should offer a point of difference from a capability perspective to allow you to charge a fair rate or charge a premium because of your capabilities. And it should allow you to create niches by being proficient in what they're looking for. So you should be able to change your capability statement when you need to, or at least customize it depending on the work you're getting. So if you've got, if you're answering a tender, for example, that is for the construction of a car park, you may have only built one car park before, but you could put lots of photos of car parks through your through your capability statement to give the impression that you've maybe done more car park work than you might have otherwise done. When you talk about your work history, rather than listing what the jobs were, if you've only done one car park, you might be better to list the value of the work you've done, but not list what the job was. And you might list the clients that you did the work for, the brands of the clients, but not list what the jobs were. So the overall feeling of that capability statement is that you're an expert at car parks for big brands. But the truth behind the capability statement is that you've done large value work for big brands and you've only really done one car park. So if you understand how a capability statement is read by your clients, and you understand how to manipulate your data in such a way that it's most palatable to the person reading it, then you get pretty good at developing successful capability statements that win work. And that's what this service is about. This service is not going to draft your copywriting. That's done in a copywriting. If you want to write copy for a capability statement, that's done in our copywriting service. If you want to, take photography of your previous developments or your previous work, we can send our photographers out to do that as part of our photography and film production service. What this is combining all the information that you supply for us to produce a capability statement as a design document, and lay that out in such a way that in the future you're able to customize that. If you need to, you can come back to us and say, we'd now like to do another version of the document. So it's giving you a format that applies your brand. So we might have done a brand for you. We can apply that brand across the document, creating a template. We can request we can ask you for all of the different parts that you're going to need to have in this document to make sure that you supply us that. The first thing we'll do is give you a list of information that we'd like from you. You could supply whatever you can. Whatever you can't supply, we can use stock images. We can make up information as long as we're not lying. But we can use generic information that we can make up. But this is not a copywriting service. This is us compiling the information that you give us to produce a capability statement. But if you need us to produce the copywriting, then also get our copywriting service. Or if you need us to produce some photos or some video, then use our photo and video service. This is the creation of that document and compiling all those things together.